der Baumgrenze. Da sind wir überhalb der Baumgrenze, also über so now.
Now, although we are technically above tree line, you'll notice there are a few stragglers that remain. These trees are called scrub pines. They lead very rough lives, and you'll notice those that do remain are mostly sheltered by high points in the land. They're in low spots with rocks around them, or in some cases they get shelter from the tracks and trestles. There are not many of them, they're very small. Most of these trees are well over 100 years old. Now if you look to the right side now, you'll see a bunch of white rocks, or rocks that appear to be mostly white. Those rocks have a large concentration of a mineral called mica schist. Mica schist is where the White Mountains get their name from. When you find it in large concentrations, it does appear white. And there are certain mountains that have a lot of this mica schist, thus giving the White Mountains their name. It actually has nothing to do with our snow cover. Looking down on the left, you'll see the remains of some old track. Those are the remains of the first long trestle that stood in this spot. It was destroyed by a hurricane in 1934, and so this trestle we're riding on right now has been named Long Trestle number 2. Above which trees cannot grow occurs at 10,000 feet or higher, and it's due to a lack of oxygen in the air. However, here on Mount Washington, our tree line occurs at 5,000 feet, and it's actually just due to our extreme weather. High winds, icy conditions, heavy snowfall, and very cold temperatures make it impossible for trees to grow above a certain point here on Mount Washington. So we are now in an entirely different climate zone. This is described as a subarctic climate, and the weather conditions and vegetation are the same as you'll find in northern Canada, just below the Arctic Circle. Looking off to the left there are the northern presidential mountains.
3 or 4 times a year, every 3 months.
And the peak nearest to us, as I said, is Mount Clay. The next one over is Mount Jefferson. That very wide peak is Mount Adams. And then there's Mount Madison.
It's hard to find a place like this far east. You feel the nice cooler weather. It's almost there.
once we cross over Skyline here, the entire summit area is going to come into view for you. Now as you look around, you're going to see lots of piles of rocks. Those are called cairns or kerns. They're used to mark the trails here above the tree line. So here at the top of Mount Washington, you do have many hiking paths that converge. Some come from the northern ridge to our left, run along the tops of those mountains. Others run along the tops of the southern presidentials, those mountains you saw in the Ammonoosuc Ravine on the right. And then you do have trails coming up both the east and west sides of Mount Washington. Looking to the left, you'll notice some of those rock piles, and that is marking a trail known as the Gulf Side Trail. The Gulf Side Trail is named that because it runs right along next to the Great Gulf, which is that great abyss off to our left side. Huge drop-offs over there, some in excess of 1,000 points off the side, 1,000 feet off the side of the Gulf Side Trail. Gulf Side Trail is part of a much longer and more famous trail, and that trail is the Appalachian Trail. This is our section right here on the left. So the Appalachian Trail is 2,200 miles long. Its southern terminus is at Springer Mountain in Georgia, and it ends at Mount Katahdin in Maine. Every spring, hundreds of hikers will set out from Springer Mountain with the goal of completing the entire trail. And it's about this time of year we'll see them pick their way through this area. Now you can always tell the Appalachian Trail hikers, they have extremely large backpacks, very bushy beards. You can actually smell them from the train. Now I am much relieved, don't see any hikers up here right now, so they probably saw the afternoon forecast as well. You don't want to get stuck up here in a storm hiking. Now we are fast approaching the summit area, so as we do so I'm going to go over some stuff you can see while you're up there. So they do have the obvious things like restrooms and refreshments. Mount Washington also has its very own post office in that building, so you can buy a postcard in the gift shop, write it out, address it, bring it to the post office, mail it out, and it'll get a Mount Washington postmark. It'll come down on a train and then get mailed out from there. On top of that building, there is an observation deck, so you can get up a little higher if you wish. And down below there's a weather museum. But the one thing you really want to make sure you don't miss is the actual summit marker. So you're going to look for a giant pile of rocks with a sign that says Mount Washington. And that's the true high point or summit of the building. So when you do get to the top of the mountain, if you're looking for that summit marker, it's going to be just over on the other side of that building. You can either go around the building or there's an archway you can pass through to get to it. Don't wait till the last minute to do that, because as I said, the weather is supposed to get a little yucky, and there is sometimes a line to get a picture there. Some instructions for your stay up there and for your down mountain train. So once we drop you off, you're going to have 1 hour to explore and check things out at the summit, and your down mountain train will depart the summit 1 hour from when we drop you off. So since we're not always perfectly on schedule, we just tell people when we get to the top, you want to look at your phone or your watch, take note of the time, make sure you're outside no later than 1 hour after we drop you off. I do usually tell people go with about 50 minutes, 50, just to be safe. You don't want to miss your down mountain train, you may have to wait a long time for another one. Now you're not going to come down the mountain with Phil and I, you'll be on a different train with different people. So just look for the train that says A platform when you get out there. Up ahead on the right side, you'll see a large monument to an ill-fated hiker by the name of Lizzie Bourne. She hiked up here in 1855, headed for the Tip Top House. That's also something you can see at the summit. But when a storm came in suddenly, she never made it there. She hunkered down in that spot to find shelter among the rocks, having no idea how close she was to safety. The train, set up a platform for you guys to unload. Then I'll come back on and give you an okay to unload. I will be at the platform to help anyone who needs assistance. I do hope you enjoyed your ride up the mountain with Phil and I. Certainly anything you want to leave with us in appreciation of a job well done is very much appreciated but not expected. Again, when we do get up there, please just hang on till I give you guys the okay to unload.
Should want my jacket.